So, you're staring at the final chapters of your qualitative accounting thesis, and you're feeling, well, maybe a little stuck. If so, you have come to the right place. We are going to break down how to write your results and discussion chapters and turn that mountain of data into a masterpiece.
All right, let's just get real for a second. You're looking at this giant pile of data, interview transcripts, notes, documents, and it feels like chaos. I get it. But here's the thing. Every single qualitative researcher has been right there. This isn't a mess. This is potential. This is the good stuff.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. Think of yourself as playing two different roles. First up, you're the detective. You're going to sift through the evidence, find the patterns, and just present the facts. But then you're going to switch hats and become the storyteller, the one who explains what it all means.
And here's our game plan. We'll start with how to get from that messy data to clear themes. Then we'll cover how to present those findings. We'll talk about the huge difference between your findings and your discussion. Then we'll get into crafting that discussion. And finally, wrap it all up at the key takeaways. Simple, right? Let's do it.
Okay, first things first. Before you can even dream of writing, you have to organize those clues. You have to bring some kind of order to that chaos. This is where you put on your detective hat and really start looking for patterns.
And your number one tool for this job? It's called qualitative coding. Don't let the term scare you. Honestly, just think of it like putting little sticky notes or tags all over your interview transcripts. Every time something interesting pops up, you give it a label. That's it. It's how you start to see the forest for the trees.
This whole process, which is often called thematic analysis, really just breaks down into a few common sense steps. First, you just read everything to get a feel for it. Then, you do that initial coding we just talked about. After that, you start grouping those little codes into bigger picture themes. And finally, you review them, polish them up, and give them clear names.
Okay, listen up, because this is a huge mistake a lot of people make. If your final themes are basically just your interview questions with a different title, you haven't really done analysis yet. Real themes are the hidden gems, the ideas that pop up again and again across all your interviews, often in surprising ways. You got to dig deeper than the questions you asked.
Okay, so you've done the hard work, you've sifted through the clues, and you found your themes. Now it's time to write that results chapter, which is usually chapter 4. And guess what? Your detective hat is staying on for this part. Your only job here is to lay out the evidence, plain and simple.
Look, this chapter has one job. That's it, just one. To present what you found. This is your Just the Facts section. You organize it around your themes, and you use juicy, direct quotes from your participants to back up every single point. And the biggest rule of all? You absolutely do not interpret anything. Not yet. You save all that good stuff for later.
And this is a super clean, really effective way to present all that evidence. It's so logical. You state the theme, you define what you mean by it in one clear sentence, and then bam, you hit them with a killer quote that proves your point. It makes your work so transparent and easy to follow.
And this right here, this is why quotes are your secret weapon. See, you're not just telling me it's a challenge. This participant is showing me with this incredible metaphor about building a plane while flying it. That's powerful. That's the kind of evidence that makes your research unforgettable.
Okay, deep breath. We're about to talk about what is probably the single most important concept you need to nail to write a fantastic thesis, and that is the great divide between your findings or results chapter and your discussion chapter. Get this right, and everything else falls into place.
Seriously, if you get this one slide, you are 90% of the way there. Your results chapter answers one question. What did I find? It's objective. It's the evidence. Your discussion chapter answers a totally different question. So what? What does it all mean? This is where you argue, you interpret, you connect the dots. What versus so what? That's the whole game.
Okay, the moment you've been waiting for. It's time to take off that detective hat and put on your storyteller hat. You've presented all the cold, hard facts. Now, in the discussion chapter, usually chapter 5, you finally get to tell us the story behind it all.
So this is where the magic happens. This is where you come in. You take those findings you already presented and you explain what they mean. You answer that so what question. You show how your findings answer your original research questions and how they speak to all the other research out there. This is your moment to shine.
And look, especially in a field like accounting, this is absolutely crucial. You need to connect the dots to the real world. What does your research mean for standards like IFRS or GAAP? Are there new challenges here for auditors? What should policymakers be thinking about? This is how you show that your research really truly matters.
All right, let's bring it all home. We're going to wrap up with the absolute essentials, the things you have to remember when you sit down to write.
And here it is, the golden rule. If you remember nothing else, remember this. You cannot introduce new results in your discussion. No new quotes, no new data points. Think about it. The jury can't consider evidence that wasn't presented in court, right? Same idea. Your discussion can only work with the evidence you already laid out in the results.
So, when you think you're done, pull up this little checklist and be honest with yourself. For your results, is it just the facts? Are you using quotes? For your discussion, are you really interpreting or are you just repeating yourself? And the big one, does every single argument in your discussion flow directly from evidence you presented earlier?
Look, you have done all the hard work. You've been the detective. You've gathered the clues. Now you're the storyteller. Your evidence is all there. Your argument is ready. So the only question left to ask is, what story is your research going to tell the world of accounting? Go on, tell it. You've totally got this.